Hey guys, Ben Hart here from Natural Music. First off, I want to thank you for starting and signing up for the Natural Music Free 3 program. Before we get started, I want to tell you just a couple of things. First, I want to make sure that you know what this program is all about. This program is designed to get you playing the piano in the gospel style in a hurry. And by the time we get done with it, you'll kind of see some repetition and you're going to realize how to approach a song kind of at the basis of the way a gospel piano approaches songs. You're going to learn chords, you're going to learn rhythm, you're going to learn intros. It is going to be 3 different lessons that you're going to get in 3 separate emails. So this is email number 1, lesson number 1. We're going to do the key of G. You're going to learn an intro. Per lesson and per video, you are going to learn a rhythm per lesson and per video, and you are going to learn a key, the chords in that key anyway, per lesson, per video. And when you get done, you are going to be able to play 30 gospel songs, 30 gospel hymns in the gospel style on the piano. So this program is for people that maybe already play and want to change their playing to the gospel style a little bit. Or it's for people that haven't played completely at all and want to be able to play in a hurry. Or maybe you're wanting to be a church pianist and you need to learn 30 hymns in the gospel style in a hurry. This program is for you. Now, a little side note here. If you have never ever touched the piano before, if you have never known what a middle C note is, or terms like an octave, or I'm talking about complete beginner, I want you to be able to do this program and to be able to start this. But to do that, you're going to have to know a few simple terms. So for absolutely for free, because I want you, the very beginners, to be able to learn, I put kind of my first lesson on the beginner videos. That's actually part of our paid program. And you can go there and sign up for that. But this program is absolutely for free, and I'm going to give you that for free. So look down there and watch that video first. Make sure you know those terms before you start this program. And I think if you get familiar with the piano after that, it's possible for you to attempt this. Now, this program is designed to get you playing in a hurry, and it could possibly take you 3 months. It could take you 3 weeks. Some of you could take 3 days. You're going to grasp the concept. But no matter where your skill level's at, I feel like you can really dive in and start to understand how gospel piano players approach songs with rhythms and intros and chords. And essentially, you're going to become a gospel pianist accompaniment. So enjoy the lessons. Be watching for each email. There's going to be 3 of them, and those are going to have the lessons in it. I don't know how long these links in the emails are going to work. So you're going to want to be following along right now. Stay with us, follow along in the lessons, and make sure you look at all 3 of those emails and save them and be learning these things. I don't know how long we'll do this. It's free right now. I'm so glad you joined me. Let's get started on our first lesson in the key of G. All right, welcome to Natural Music. Today we are going to be going over a intro, some chords, and a rhythm that we are going to be able to attach to 10 different songs. So first thing you need to know is the chords. So here's some of the chords you're going to come across. I'm going to give you the main 3 and then some of the other ones that you might come into, or you will on some of these songs. So first off, we're in the key of G. So this one is our G lesson that we're going to play, our quick 4/4 time songs. And the first chord is a G chord, since we're playing in the key of G, which is G, B, and D. So that makes up a G chord. Now, the next thing you need to know is I'm going to say an octave, which is a low, whatever chord we're in, G to G. So we're playing a G chord up here. We're going to play an octave G down here. Now, if you cannot reach an octave, a G to G, or in that matter, if we play a C to C, or a D to D, that is fine. Just play the low version of that, or you can play that one. but I recommend playing the low one of that G. And then we're going to alternate in the left hand to a single note D. So the left hand is going to create a bass guitar sound. So this is what you got to be able to do to play the G chord and the rhythm that is attached to it. So you hit an octave here, and then you hit a G chord here, and then single note D here, and then a G chord here, and then octave G, G chord. So in between that. And then I'm going to keep this nice and snappy so it gives it a nice feel. So I'm not pressing down any of the pedals on this. I'm just going, you start with the left hand, you start with the octave G, and then you kind of just cut off the G, then hit the D, and cut off. So, and I may sustain this a little bit more. Okay, so that's how we're going to play the G and the rhythm. Now, let's move on to the C. That would be the most popular chord next in the key of G. So here we go. Here's a C octave, C to C, and then we're going to alternate to G, and it's going to be the same thing, but in our right hand, a C chord is C, E, and G. So C octave here, C here, G, C. Some of you may already know this, and this may be easy. Hang on, we will get to the intro, which is why some of you, I'm sure, started this little program. Okay, so now let's move on to a D. So we do a D octave to A down here. And what this is like we're playing the bass guitar in the left hand and like a chop guitar in the right hand. And what we're going to do on the right hand is to play a D chord, you need to play a D, F sharp, and an A. So hit those together and then start with the left hand. We're always starting with that left hand octave. Get it up to speed. Now, I would recommend if this is a new concept to you, start right now figuring out how to change in between those chords. So start with G, and then your left hand will move to a C, and then go back to a G. Just get familiar with the rhythm. And then go to a D, until you can't hear any hesitation in between the changes. So it would be like this. C, back to G. Then go to D, back to G. Now, it won't always come back to the key it's written in, which we're in G right now, but it does a lot. So that's a good practice to go from G to C, back to G, back to... And it's better to get consistent. So if you have to do this really slow first, and then change, it's better to keep all that consistent than to go... Because nobody can sing to that. So it's better to keep it all consistent, even if you got to do it really slow. And at first, I know it can be really slow for some of you. And so that way you kind of create a good habit in being able to do that at a consistent speed. Okay, so I'm going to go over some of the other chords that you might encounter in G. Now there's, hundreds of songs that you could play with just those three chords. But you are going to come into the next chord, possibly would be a E minor. So you can play that down here or up here, but an E minor is this, E, G, and B. And the same thing applies. We're going to do an E octave here to a B. So kind of sounds like weird Greek music when you play it by itself without the other chords. But that's what it is. And you'll see how that fits into songs as you begin to play them. But remember, always start with that left-hand octave when you change. So throw that in your mix to go from G down to E minor, or up here. Then to D, maybe. Then to C. You get the idea of it. Practice just getting familiar with changing those chords before you attempt songs. Now, the next chord that you may encounter is a straight up A chord, and this kind of gets out of key or out of scale for those of you that know what that means, and for those of you that don't, that's fine too. You can just know this is the chord you need to play. Straight up A is A, C sharp, and an E, and then we're doing A to E down here. Okay, so those are the 5 chords you need to know. G, C, and D are the ones you need to know right up front. Practice those, then add the E minor, then add the A, and you'll run but mostly you're going to use, actually some of these songs you might just use G and D, in fact. So practice changing and getting fast at that. So that is our chords for the key of G, not too hard, and the rhythm that we're going to do. Start with the left hand octave, change around. Okay, so now for what a lot of you got into this is probably for this for these intros. So we're going to move right along with the intro, and then we'll kind of hit a few songs so you can see how they attach to them. And you can have all those songs and just know to change the chords above which word the chord is. So we'll go over some of that here in a second. But let's go over this intro now that we have a rhythm created and the chords that we need. So first things first, if you know anything about chords, or if you don't worry, just play the notes that I'm playing and it'll start to make sense to you. But those of you that know chords, definitely at a beginner level, I'm going to call this a G chord, and you're going to say, well, that's not a G chord because that's weird. You started the G you started the D on your thumb. Because remember, we played a G like this, and the D's up here, and it goes G. It doesn't have to go in that order. This is a G chord, long as it's these 3 notes, long as it's G, B, and D. So it can go here, it can go B, D, and G, or it can go D, G, and B, and then it starts over again. So it is a G chord no matter what combination you're hitting there. Those are the 3 notes. So I am going to play this G chord right here. We're going to go over the chord structure of the intro first, and the voicings, which the voicing is in what order I put the notes. So here we go. First, we're going to hit a G chord, and we're going to sustain a G octave down here. So we're just going to hit this. We're going to go like this. And this is the G chord, D, G, and B. That's the voicing or the order of the notes of the chord that I choose to do. And then all you got to do is raise this middle finger up to a G sharp. And then you're playing D, G sharp, and B. And if you move this left hand down to an E, we call that an E7. All right? So for those of you that are familiar with that, you say, yeah, I know, move along. But for those of you that don't, that's an E7. So we got G, and we're going to hit an E7. And now we're going to move to what I call a rootless A7, even though we're holding technically the root in the left hand. So this, which that was a rootless E7 also, but now we're going to play an A7, and we're going to play C sharp, E, and G. And then we're going to do the A octave down here. There's an A7, okay? So that's the voicing. I'm going to do that. So far we got G, E7, A7, and then we're going to go to a D7. And so the left hand's holding the D octave, and then we're going to play C, F sharp, and A, like that. All right, so G, E7, A7, D7, and then we're going to go down to this G. And the order we're going to do, the left hand's going to play a G, of course, and we're going to play a B, a D, and a G. All right, like that. So that's the same 3 notes as this and this. We reworked them to work like that. So far we got G, E7, A7, D7, G. And now we're going to hit a regular old C, which this C is C, E, and G, which we just hit B, D, and G for a G. So all you got to do is move these 2 fingers to C, E, and G. So we're going to go, the left hand's going to go to C, and then we're going to go back down here to G. Once again, you can hit single notes kind of low if you can't reach that octave on these things. But since I can reach an octave, we're going to go ahead and do that. So, and then we're, so far we got G, E7, A7, D7, G, C, G. And then we're going to do this low note walk down here. D, E, F sharp. And then when we hit the G, we'll start the G octave, and that's where you would start your rhythm in the song. So you go like a bass guitar. I know you probably heard a bass guitar go boom, 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 boom. That's all we're doing. So far we got up to speed, okay? Kind of sounds, you could actually use that as an intro straight up. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little walk at the beginning before we hit that first G chord. I'm gonna go D, D, E, G. And I'm gonna do it kind of phrase like this. Da, 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 da. All right? And I leave my fingers kind of like this so I'm ready for that first G. All right, and then I'll hit G. Okay, so here it is up to, well, not quite up to speed, a little slower. What a fellowship, what a joy divine. Okay, so not too bad. Now, you learn that first, just hit the chords. I mean, this could sound like a pretty good intro, just... Would you be free from your burden of sin? And I don't even think that one's on the list, but you can see how that would work if you were playing it in the key of G. So this is going to attach on any 4/4 time fast song in the key of G. And this is just a generic intro with a rhythm. And if you know where to change the chords, you can attach this to that. So you can see how powerful this is. Now, we're going to after you learn that, we're gonna spice it up a little bit more. And instead of just hitting the chords, we're gonna still hit in the left hand. When we hit a G, we hit a G, but instead we're gonna just start on the B, and then we're gonna roll down the chord. So if we're playing these 3 notes, we're gonna roll down B on the G, we're gonna roll da 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 da, and then we're gonna start on a B, B, G, D, you know, we played that chord, so, and then when we play an E, we're gonna play B, G sharp, D, or that was an E, sorry. And then when we play this A, we're gonna do G, E, C sharp, and then we're gonna play A, F sharp, C, and then when we get to this G, we're gonna go back to just hitting the chord. And you can go, but I'm just gonna hit it. I'm gonna do G, C, G. All right? So here we go. Let's play that nice and slow, and understand it's not gonna come that fast and that easy at the beginning. Work on this, it takes practice. The repetition of the right material is what you need to get in your brain to realize. So this is the right material. If you're wanting to start playing gospel music, this will set you on the right path to the right style, and this gets you started and really gets you going. And sounding like a gospel piano player with a nice rhythm and a decent kind of, I guess, a little bit convention-y. I just call it a good gospel rhythm. So here intro. So here this is nice and slow. Rolling it. Ooh, let me try that again. All right, then you're into the song. Okay. So work on that, get that down, get the rhythm and change chords, and now I'm gonna show you kind of the magic of this. Now this will work on, like I said, any song in G in 4/4 time, but I'm going to show you the songs that I'm giving you right now. We got New Name and Glory, Are You Washed in the Blood, Glory to His Name, He Keeps Me Singing, and Sweet By and By. There's 10 of them here, Victory in Jesus, and this will work on all of those. And all you have to do is look at the chord chart, and above what word and what phrase that chord changes, when you're looking at that, your left hand will start that chord. So if, let's do Are You Washed in the Blood real quick. So we do the walk at the end of the intro. Have you, and then on Ben is when they'll start. Have you been to Jesus for the cleansing power? We're just on G. Are you washed in the blood of the... Now when you get to Lamb, this left hand is going to play the D because we're switching to D, and that gives you time to switch to D up here. Lamb, see, are you... And then on Fully, we go back to G. Fully trusting in His. Then on Grace, we're going to C here. Grace this hour, are you... Then back to G. On Wash, so the left hand starts it on G, wash in the, then we're going to D on blood of the, then back to G, Lamb. Okay, so you can see, and that's all you have to do. That is it. And this will, I played that a little slow, so I'm going to play through it up to speed, and you'll see how powerful this is. So here's the intro up to speed, and you can decide how fast or how slow you want to do this, but this is about where I would do it for this song. So here we go. Have you been to Jesus for the cleansing power? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Are you fully trusting in His grace this hour? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Then go right on to the chorus. Are you washed in the blood, in the soul cleansing blood of the Lamb? Are your garments spotless? Are they white as snow? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Now, if you wanted to, you could take that intro and make an interlude and just kind of stop. In the blood of the Lamb. Give the singers a breather. Are you walking daily? Or you can just continue on. Of the Lamb, are you walking daily? Okay, so you can see how valuable this is. You do that with all of these songs. Nothing but the blood, the old account was settled. You can see here, let's do Leaning on the Everlasting Arms, a line of it so you can kind of see how it works. What a fellowship, what a joy divinely lean on. Okay, so you can see how that is. This is the first intro, and for in the key of G, you can apply this to 10 different songs here that we have here, but I want you to think about the possibility you can apply this to so much more. Any song that you want to play in the key of G that's fast like this, that this rhythm goes to, you've got a nice intro that you can apply that to, and this is going to open up a whole new world for you. All right, so that is lesson number 1 of this little program in the key of G and the 4/4 timing. This has been Hart, and thank you so much for watching. We'll see you at the next lesson.